New proof points to rat activation on doomed Air India flight. Hey race, what it means explained. Did a dual engine failure lead to the tragic Air India crash in Ahmedabad on June 12 in which over 250 people were killed? New evidence in the aftermath of the AI-171 crash has shed light on the sequence of events leading up to the disaster, with probe into the emergency systems aboard the aircraft suggesting that a dual engine failure may have played a significant role in the incident. According to aviation experts, the RAM air turbine RAT, which was activated shortly after takeoff, could be a critical clue. What is RAT? The RAM air turbine is a device used on aircraft to generate emergency power when the primary engines fail. It deploys into the airstream and uses the aircraft's forward motion to generate power for essential systems, such as flight controls and hydraulics. Its activation on AI-171 suggests that the plane may have faced a catastrophic loss of engine power shortly after takeoff. Depending on the aircraft and configuration, the RAT can power flight control systems, instruments, communications, hydraulic systems, and basic navigation systems. How? When is IT deployed? Automatic deployment triggered automatically when there is a complete loss of electrical power or both engines fail. Also read mother's emotional plea, father's gut feeling how fate stopped lucky ones from taking AI-171 manual deployment. The pilot can manually deploy the RAT by activating a switch or lever in the cockpit used if the automatic system fails. The sequence of deploying RAT is as follows: power loss detected, a complete failure of main electrical hydraulic systems is sensed. RAT deployment mechanism activated, a spring-loaded or hydraulic mechanism pushes the RAT out of its housing, usually in the fuselage or wing fairing. Turbine spins in airflow as the aircraft moves forward, air pressure spins the RAT's small propeller. Power generation begins. The RAT drives an emergency generator, electrical or hydraulic pump, restoring enough power to operate essential systems. Expert view on Air India crash. According to a Times of India report, the Air India Dreamliner that crashed in Ahmedabad used the entire 3.5 km runway for takeoff, longer than the usual 2.5 to 3 km typically required for that type of aircraft. No irregularities were noted before departure. An airport source confirmed there were no requests for changes in runway, engine thrust, or flap settings. Weather and visibility were stable, and ambient temperatures remained within operational norms. These conditions indicate that the takeoff seemed routine, making the sudden failure shortly after liftoff and the rapid descent that followed all the more baffling for investigators. Also read deja vu for Ahmedabad Civil Hospital staff who was present during 1988 plane crash. Aviation expert Captain Sahil Bala said the quick activation of the RAT on AI-171 is indicative of a dual-engine failure. In an interview with the Financial Express, Bala explained that the RAT's deployment, which occurs within seconds after the engines fail, is a clear sign that the aircraft had lost power from both engines. The activation of the RAT is almost instantaneous. It tells us that the aircraft was relying on emergency backup systems due to a significant loss of power, Bala said. Experts suggest that the dual-engine failure may have been caused by mechanical issues or a fuel-related problem, which would explain the aircraft's reliance on the RAT system. The aircraft's rapid descent after takeoff and the deployment of the RAT add weight to the theory that the flight was unable to maintain altitude due to engine power loss. An interesting detail that has emerged from the crash investigation is the small gray dot noticed in early images from the crash site. This dot is believed to represent the RAT in its deployed state. This observation has fueled further speculation that the RAT may have been deployed at a critical time during the flight right after the engines failed. As reported by Business Today, experts have suggested that this small gray dot could be a physical manifestation of the RAT's location or deployment. It's a detail that could help aviation experts pinpoint when exactly the emergency power system kicked in, adding valuable context to the timeline of the crash. What happens when both engines fail in modern commercial aircraft? Dual-engine failure is an extremely rare event, but when it occurs, it can be catastrophic. In normal circumstances, aircraft are designed to fly and navigate with one or more engines running. When both engines fail simultaneously, no engine power is available to propel the aircraft forward, which affects aerodynamic stability. The aircraft will still retain momentum and altitude briefly, but the pilots must rely on emergency power and control systems to maintain control of the aircraft. Also read new video shows Seat 11As miracle survivor walking away from Ahmedabad plane crash site. If both engines fail, the RAT will deploy automatically, offering enough power to keep essential flight systems active, though not necessarily enough for normal flight operations. The RAT provides critical time for the pilots to regain control or land the aircraft. Immediate power loss in both engines likely would have left AI-171 unable to climb to altitude safely. The RAT was deployed to provide emergency hydraulic or electrical power for essential systems like flight controls and navigation instruments, without which the aircraft could not have continued to function properly. The RAT's role in maintaining basic control systems would have been vital in helping the pilots attempt to bring the aircraft to a safe landing. But without engines, the aircraft would have struggled to regain enough lift to reach a safe altitude. What may have caused the dual-engine failure? The exact cause of the dual-engine failure remains unclear, but experts have been considering several potential scenarios. Mechanical malfunctions. A failure of both engines, due to mechanical failure, could explain why the RAT was activated. If, for example, there was a fuel problem or an engine defect, this could have led to a simultaneous shutdown of both engines. Fuel-related issues. A sudden fuel contamination or fuel starvation scenario could cause both engines to fail unexpectedly. This theory is supported by the timing of the RAT deployment, as the aircraft would have been forced to rely on emergency systems until the situation was addressed. Electrical or hydraulic failures. The RAT may have also been deployed due to a failure of critical electrical or hydraulic systems, which are necessary for operating the aircraft's primary functions. Swipe left for next video. The aircraft was under the command of Captain Sumit Sabharwal, who had 8,200 hours of experience, and was being co-pilot by First Officer Clive Kundar, with 1,100 hours of flying experience. Seconds after takeoff, the pilot issued a mayday call before losing contact with the air traffic control ATC and crashing into a hostel for MBBS students. Latest blogs.